My name is Ian Walsh, and I'm with my partner Jason Balin. We're hard money bankers. Have a couple topics we'd like to discuss here over virtual meetings. So, one of the topics that we'd like to bring up today is a question that both of us receive frequently: is do I do large? Should I do large projects or small projects when flipping? I'm just starting versus I have a lot of experience. Usually, when you have to ask that question, um, you probably should start with the small projects. And I'll jump in with some of the experience that I've had in terms of when I get that question and what I see and where things can go right or wrong with big and small projects. So a small project to us would be something like maybe buy something for 50,000, put 45,000, $35,000 into the project, resell it for 135, 140. Now, there's nothing wrong with doing small projects. In fact, there's two things that, especially when you're learning, that you should do. A, it's going to teach you a lot of lessons along the way that are not amplified, that would be amplified on a large project. Granted, you make smaller margins, but if your crews are running efficiently and your execution level is very high, you're going to be able to churn a lot of these out. They're easy to find. There's lower amounts of risk if something goes wrong, or you have an issue, where you might have a $5,000 or a $10,000 mistake that you can easily overcompensate. If you do a large project where you're trying to pick it up at 300,000, put 200,000 in, and resell it for say 800,000, a $200,000 construction budget, there's a lot that can go wrong if you don't know what you're doing. And the issue is it's amplified. So if you do make a mistake, it's usually not a $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000 mistake. It's probably more like a $20,000 or $30,000 error that you've got to make sure you can, get caught back up in your budget with. So my recommendation, and Jason, will have some follow up in terms of what he's going to discuss in his experience, would be that, especially if you're newer, or if you've been doing it for a long time, it's a lot less risk to do a bread and butter project that's a little bit smaller than taking on high-end projects. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't take them on. It just means be very, very aware of the execution and what's needed. And that's kind of what I've seen. I don't know, Jason, what you bumped into.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And, I think that projects in general that start going sideways is the construction. Obviously, there's fixed costs on your purchase, there's fixed costs on your selling, there's fixed costs kind of on what your financing costs are, but the construction is always the unknown. You have a $30,000 budget, and yes, if you go over budget, all of a sudden that shoots right back and kills your margin. Collectively, we've done over 1,000 loans at Hard Money Bankers, and I'll tell you, the deals that go sideways, that always go sideways, are because of construction. And the bigger the construction project, the construction budget is, the higher chance that that thing is going to go sideways. Because, like you said earlier, a $30,000 project, you go over budget 10%, it's $3,000. A $100,000 or $150,000 budget goes over 10%. You're $15,000. Depending on the side. So the deals that we've seen go bad are because the construction is too big. The borrower has a hard time executing, and if it's your first deal, it's extremely hard to complete a $100,000 construction project. That's just the truth of the matter. Stick with a lipstick on the pig. Stick with a smaller construction project. Learn it. Master the construction process. Even if you're not the ones doing the work, master what is getting done, kind of behind the scenes. Managing contractors and construction is a whole different topic that we'll get into at another time. But that really could make or break. So make sure you hone in on those numbers, and hopefully your next real estate investment is successful.